2020 is going to be a great year for electric cars. I do have to say 2019 was not bad either. A lot of people are really getting into it. We've had a lot of cars unveiled, a lot of cars going in production, but today we're going to talk about the electric cars that are going in production, are going to be on sale, and I'm not going to do it by myself. I'm going to do it with Tom Moloughney. Today is time for Plugged In with Tom Moloughney, our weekly segment. Of course, we have added a few other contributors. Of course, you know Eli Burton, but we've also added Sandy Monroe, Karsten Breitfeld, the CEO of Faraday Future, Roger Atkins, and Rich Rebuild. So all of these awesome contributors are here regularly, but today Tom is going to tell us about the new electric cars that are coming to your hometown most of the time. Really, it is a worldwide revolution in the next year. By the way, all of these contributors are bringing so many different interesting opinions, and if that's not the reason to subscribe to this channel, I don't know what is. Just click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. And of course, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byte, and check out their all-electric SUV called Byte. We're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show. $0, €0 down to reserve one. Join myself and tens of thousands of other people who've already done so. The link in the description of this video should take you about, I don't know, 60 seconds of your time, depending how fast you type. So go and reserve your Byton today, all right? So let's bring in Tom and talk about all of the exciting 22 electric cars that are coming our way. Tom, which one is your favorite?
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Going good.
So, you know, picking a favorite is tough. This is going to be a good year. I'm really looking forward to 2020.
Same here. Same here.
Alex, we're getting an electric pickup truck. So
yes, I know.
It would be hard for me to choose anything as my favorite other than the Rivian R1T. Just the fact that, you know, we're getting a pickup, an all-electric pickup truck is really exciting. One of the things that I've long talked about was for electric vehicle adoption to really start to take off, we need to start to get options in every size and shape. For the longest time, other than Tesla, you know, I feel like I always have to qualify that and say other than Tesla. But all the cars with these like little hatchbacks that went 80 miles, and we're finally starting to get longer range cars available and in different crossovers and SUVs, but we still haven't had the bigger vehicles, the pickup trucks, the full-size SUVs that so many people want. And we're getting a pickup truck this year. I know everyone's been talking about the Tesla Cybertruck now. That's like taken over the world. But Rivian's been quietly doing their thing, and they're going to be launching this year. I think it's going to be hard to pick anything but the Rivian R1T as like the electric vehicle of the year. And that's saying a lot, because we're going to get cars like the Tesla Model Y, the Mustang Mach-E, the Volkswagen Cross, which is, I believe it's going to be called the ID4, which is a crossover that's coming here to the US. The ID3 is launching in Europe. So, I mean, there's some pretty significant new cars coming to market, but you can't, there's no way you could minimize the effect of having a fully electric pickup truck, a long-range electric pickup, what that's going to mean.
And we should mention that, you know, they are going in production at the end of the year, it looks like, and Cybertruck is about a year behind that. There is of course a Bollinger, but it's kind of a niche product, and I don't think they're going to market until 2021 also. So, and an interesting note, today Rivian released a tank turn video, just kind of a Christmas present for everybody. So let's check that out. And I should probably mention that they've released some video of something very similar was released a few months ago, and Rivian said, no, this is not us, or, you know, this is not what we've created. And sure enough, because they have 4 motors on each wheel, well, they have 4 motors, 1 on each wheel, they're able to do this. This looks pretty cool, if you ask me. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, how could you not say it looks cool? That's pretty cool. And we got a little Christmas present from Rivian, and that's just going to add to the excitement. I'm really looking forward to this thing coming to market. It's going to be a really big step forward in electric vehicles.
Yeah, and they are, people think they're a brand new company. They're pretty much 10 years old. They just haven't told us they existed until only a year ago, and me and you were at the unveiling. All right, so I gotta say, I think some people would be surprised that you've picked the Rivian over Model Y. And so let's go over some other big names and big cars that are going in production in 2020. What's your number two?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, there's a lot of cars. There's probably 12 or 15 significant new electric vehicle entries that are going to be hitting the market in 2020. But I really think that there's four really big ones. The Rivian, as we mentioned, the Model Y, which is going to be huge. It's going to, be at least as big as the Model 3. I think that's going to sell incredibly. And then we have to look at the Mustang Mach-E. That's really, while it's not going to sell in the numbers of the Model Y, I think it's really the first real car that a U.S. automaker, other than Tesla, that one of the legacy automakers, really put the weight of the brand behind. Now, a lot of people will say, "Well, you may be discounting the Chevy Bolt." Chevy came out; they were like the first long-range, kind of affordable car, and that's true. And I give GM a lot of credit for the Bolt, but this is different. With Ford putting the Mustang name on this vehicle, they're really getting behind this car. I think we're going to see them put an incredible effort out to really try to get the dealers up to speed so that dealers can talk to this customers about these cars and really try to make an effort to say, look, we're pivoting. We know electrification is the future, and we're going in that direction. So I think the Mustang Mach-E is definitely a vehicle to keep an eye out for. And it's also really important in my mind to watch how Ford does this rollout. They just kind of send them to the dealers and not really get the dealers up to speed. I'll be really disappointed. I think Ford really needs to get behind this vehicle and do a proper launch, give the dealers the tools they need to sell it, do the proper training, have chargers available at the dealerships. They already talked about doing that. I know people don't want to go to a dealership to charge, but for people that are new to electric vehicles, it is reassuring when the dealer says, look, we'll always have a charger out here in the parking lot if you ever need to plug in. Even if they never use it, that it's important to be able to say that. And I think that's going to be part of the whole getting the dealers ready. And from what I understand, they're going to be doing that. So we have the Model Y, we have Rivian, we have the Mustang Mach-E, and the fourth kind of really important vehicle that I think is the Volkswagen. We expect it to be called the ID4. The concept name was the Cross, and that's a crossover that's coming to the U.S. Probably mid 2020. We're not going to get the ID3 here, the hatchback. That's going to be going to Europe, and that's launching, soon. They may have even launched it. I'm not sure exactly. If not, it's really soon. But we're not getting that vehicle, unfortunately, here in the U.S. Volkswagen has told us the people in the U.S. don't like hatchbacks. They're for the most right, but we love our crossovers, so that's where we're getting the ID4. And I mean, that's a really interesting vehicle. It's going to have the all-wheel drive. It's going to have different battery configurations with up to I think 311-mile range. It's got the 83 kilowatt-hour battery pack. So this is going to be a long-range, really compelling all-wheel drive crossover. So, I mean, throw that right in with the Model Y and the Mustang Mach-E. These are the types of vehicles that Americans are purchasing today. And to be able to have three of these coming to market in 1 year that are all long-range, good-looking vehicles, all-wheel drive, I think that's going to do a lot to making people that weren't really interested in electric vehicles take a second look at them. So those are really the top 4 in my mind that are going to be coming to market this year in 2020.
So I kind of skipped over the Tesla Model Y, and we don't want anybody saying that we're minimizing it. I mean, Elon said that he believes, and I think we would agree that Model Y will even outsell Model 3 because, you know, compact crossover SUVs, is whatever you want to call them, are definitely number one in the US. They're also kind of suitable for Europe as well. How do you think Model Y will do, and do you think the other cars, you know, like Mach-E and ID4, do you think that will make people think twice about getting the Model Y and maybe go in the other direction?
So, well, I did say, I'm not sure exactly what I said, but I didn't just skip over it. I did say that the Model Y is probably going to be even more popular than the Model 3. And I believe that. I think, you know, once the Model Y is ready and in scaled production where they're making thousands of them a week, I think you're going to see Model Y outsell the Model 3 because it's just kind of like Model 3 but better. You know, it offers more functionality. It's bigger and basically, you know, looks very similar. The interior is very similar. So, you know, I don't know why too many people would select the Model 3 if both cars are available and they're kind of very closely priced. I'm not saying the Model 3 isn't going to sell. People still want sports sedans, but here in the US, the market is clearly spoken, and many more people buy these small crossovers than they do sedans. It's a reason why GM and Ford have already announced that they're getting out of the sedan business. They're going to be making crossovers and SUVs because that's what people are buying. So, you know, the Model Y is an exciting vehicle. You know, did I not go into too much detail with it because it's like everything Tesla brings out is an exciting vehicle? Yeah, probably. I think I'm excited that some other automakers other than Tesla are finally bringing vehicles out that I'm getting excited about. But that doesn't mean that the Model Y isn't going to be a great vehicle. I think it is.
Yeah, and I should mention it. You know, some people do like sedans. I personally like sedans over SUVs, and also, you know, Model Y will be $5,000 more expensive, so that could play some role because it is not a highly priced car. So, but yes, I mean, I would agree this is going to do really well. All right, so what about, okay, so you got your top four, and I pretty much agree. I mean, a lot of footage that I've been showing is either was shot by you holding the camera or you were in a shot there. So we've both been there. And okay, so what about the other ones? I mean, there will be quite a few other options. You know what you know, including I know Lucid and a few others. So talk about the ones that you think will do well, or at least something that people should be aware of.
Sure. So it's really hard to tell what's going to do well because there's going to be a tremendous amount of competition this year. But now we have other vehicles like the Mini Cooper SE that's going to be coming to market in the spring. I know it doesn't have a long range. It's only going to go EPA rated. I think it's 111 miles. But the thing about the Cooper SE is the price. The price is $29,990, and that's or just $29,900, and that's pretty loaded. So take the federal tax credit off of that. If you live in a state where you get a state rebate, we're talking a $20,000 car. Lease rates are going to be next to nothing on this. You'll be able to walk into a dealer, probably put no money down and lease one for like $175 a month. How do you beat that? You know, so I think the Mini Cooper is going to be a fun vehicle that has a good chance to do well. Then we have, if you want to talk about the other small, like micro cars, the Honda E, that's not going to be available in the US, unfortunately. It's going to have roughly about the same range as the Mini Cooper. I think it has a 35 kilowatt hour battery pack, and the Mini Cooper is about a 33 kilowatt hour battery pack. So very similar in size, very similar in battery. So you're going to look at that at 120 miles, 125 miles. That's only going to Europe, though, unfortunately. We're not going to get it here in the US, but it's a fun car worth noting.
It's cute. He's got cute eyes. He's got cute eyes. I should mention, I'm the one on the left, and the Honda E is on the right. And you know, I'm a Honda E hater just because it's an amazing car with a crappy range. But I know there are quite a few buyers in Europe, and they're probably smart not to bring it to the US. But let's just keep going, I guess.
I think it's a cute car. I'd love to tool around on that thing as like a daily beater. I would definitely consider getting one of those as my second car here if they were available. So I'm considering the Mini Cooper. We'll see how that impresses me. I'm doing the Mini Cooper press drive in about 3 weeks down in Miami, so I'll be able to report back to you and tell you how that car drove.
Uh,
So in addition to those, we have the Volvo XC 40. That's all electric, small SUV from Volvo. That's going to be a really interesting vehicle. I think the estimated range, they haven't given us the exact range, somewhere around 240, 250 miles. Volvos have a really good following, really loyal following. I think it's a good looking vehicle. That's something that's a real interesting car. I'm not sure exactly what the pricing is going to be for that yet, but if they kind of keep the pricing near to what the gas version is, that has the chance to do pretty well.
I'm actually
Um,
surprised you don't have it in your top. Top. I mean, I think first of all, it's a great. I'm not even a big fan of SUVs. I think it's a good looking SUV. It is a Volvo. It's got a decent range. They have a dealer network and everything. I think they might surprise
I hope they do. I think it's a good looking vehicle. Volvo isn't Ford. Okay, so you know Ford has a presence everywhere, and
that could be a
that's
good thing,
pretty.
by the way.
What's that?
That could be a good thing that Volvo isn't Ford for some people, you
Yeah,
know?
well, I don't know. Ford for the U.S. automakers, Ford doesn't have that bad of a reputation, and I would definitely, I wouldn't think twice about getting a Ford product. Let's put it that way anymore. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, the quality really wasn't up to snuff, but I think they've gotten a lot better in the past decade.
All right.
So then we've got the XC40. We've got the Polestar 2. That's coming in 2020 also. That's going to be a really interesting vehicle. I had a chance to ride in one, not drive it. And, I was impressed with that vehicle. Uh, that's going to be interesting how that's sold in the US, though. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be available all over the country or just in the ZEV states. I don't think we have gotten the full explanation yet on how that's going to be marketed here, but I think it's an interesting vehicle. Has the opportunity to bring some people into electrification that weren't interested in it before. So that's what it's all about. I don't think that these vehicles are, Tesla killers, any of these vehicles. And I hate that term, but, we have to mention it. I think I think the people that are going to buy Teslas are going to buy a Tesla, say Model Y. But what I really like about vehicles like the Volvo, the Polestar, the Mini, BMW is going to be bringing the iX3 to market
I was
late
wondering why
2020.
you haven't mentioned that yet. I thought it was also could be a really big one. I mean, it is a BMW. They've already been selling them, so I would.
Well, the reason why I held back is I'm really waiting to hear from BMW on this because that they had been talking a lot about the iX3 and they've kind of gone radio silent lately. And it could be because, the iX3 is made in China. It's not made in the US plant or in Germany. It's exclusively made in China. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, with the tariffs that are currently in place. If the tariffs aren't lifted or if they get worse, will BMW bring this vehicle in 2020? If
Interesting.
there's a 30% tariff on it, how could they sell it? It would cost more than a Model X.
Yeah.
So, I'm not too high on the iX3 yet until we hear for sure if we're getting it and what it's going to cost. So that's going to be something we have to keep an eye on. BMW kind of has been quiet about it lately. I talked to a dealer recently here in New Jersey, and he had said that he hasn't heard anything from BMW about the iX3. And they had talked about it in the past, and now he can't get any information on it. So it's curious that they're kind of gone radio silent. I wonder if they're rethinking their plans on bringing it to the US because of the tariffs. So we'll have to wait a few more months and get some information on that.
All right. What about Lucid? Lucid is, kind of came alive, and I just did an interview with their CEO, Peter
Mhm.
Rawlinson, and they're saying they're going. I mean, I've visited their production facility. They're saying they're moving forward, and the Lucid Air, is going to be here by the end of this year. Is this something to be
Yeah.
excited about?
That's another vehicle. I think so. I think any of the startups that actually bring a vehicle to market is worth getting excited about because we're getting to see some fresh ideas from these companies that the legacy automakers really struggle to bring something really fresh to market with. And I think that companies like Lucid and even a company like Byton, I know that's one of your sponsors here, but Byton is going to be bringing their vehicle to market in China in early 2020. Then the US, it's going to follow. I'm not sure exactly how much later, either later in 2020 or early 2021. But, companies like Lucid and Byton, I'm definitely interested in seeing what they do because we could be seeing the beginning of companies that turn out to be really established automakers in the future, and both of those companies seem to be able to gotten over, say, the hump. They have factories, they're building prototypes, and they're going to bring cars to market this year. So I think those two companies, Lucid and Byton, are two companies to keep an eye on this year.
All right. So, you obviously picked your top four. Anything that you're maybe disappointed this year? That's something that maybe, or next year, 2020, that you kind of expected to happen and maybe is not happening. You already mentioned BMW iX3. I actually agree with you. I have not thought about the car for a long time, and you're right, making things in China right now, it does seem a little risky. Though from what I see, and this is in no way inside information, Byton has an investor from South Korea where they might be assembling some of the M bytes to ship them
Mhm.
to the US without having to pay the high tariffs. But and so there are ways around it. Anything else you might be disappointed or concerned about?
Well, I'm still a little disappointed with Audi and Jaguar Audi e-tron and Jaguar I-Pace sales. They're both pretty good vehicles, and they've really been languishing. Audi's picked up a little bit recently, but I kind of expected them to do a little better, and I really think that that's a real indictment is on the dealerships and the dealership experience. That the dealers, at least here in the U.S. for sure, they're still struggling to really understand electric vehicles, understand and be able to convey the value proposition of an electric vehicle. It's sitting on the showroom. It's got a higher MSRP than the gas cars that are comparable, and the dealers really struggle to communicate well how that, while it might be initially higher, over 3 or 4 years, it's actually less. And until the dealers really are able to grasp that and communicate that to the customers, I think the legacy brands are going to struggle with their electric vehicles. And I think that's part of the reason why some of these vehicles from, say, Audi and Jaguar are not doing as well as they could. They definitely are. They're good electric vehicles, and I think they should be doing a little bit better sales wise than what they currently are.
All right, well, fair enough. I have to say, I mean, I agree with you. This is going to be like an amazing year. These cars that are not only just coming from, Tesla and maybe a couple of other manufacturers that we kind of already gotten used to. There's new fresh blood coming in. The legacy manufacturers turning around, and so I think this might just be the year where there's going to be enough buzz, cars on the road, and people, neighbors, and friends buying them, where people will be like, huh, and you're right. Getting a pickup truck, all electric pickup truck that's got an amazing range, looks pretty decent, has all of these amazing features, that could also be just the key for this. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, I agree with you. Cybertruck got all this publicity, but I think people who have to be convinced the most are the pickup truck drivers, and they are not that excited about the Cybertruck. So Rivian is definitely going to lead the way there. So, all right,
I,
well,
I absolutely agree. One thing I will say is that I don't think 2020 is going to be, say, this giant breakout year. I still think we're like 2 or 3 years from that. I had been saying for a while that around 2022, 2023, I think is when we're really going to see the inflection point in electric vehicles where the adoption really starts to take off. And that's really because I think we're still a couple years away from battery prices getting to the point where we have parity, where we have a gas car here that goes 300 miles, an electric car here that goes 300 miles. They look the same and they cost the same. So while I think 2020 is going to be another incremental step, better sales, more vehicles available, pickup trucks, crossovers, I think it's going to be a great year for electric vehicles. I still think we're about 2 to 3 years away from having that real takeoff where, right now we're about 2% electric vehicle is about 2%. That might go up to 3%, then 4%. I think once 2023 hits, I think you're going to start to see that really jump from that 2, 3, 4 to 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. I think that's when, talk about the hockey stick curve. That's when we really start to go up around 2023.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And I guess maybe I should rephrase it. What I think is 2020 is going to be about is people who have never considered or known much about electric cars will have plenty of friends and family buying them or looking into them. So they're going to be like, okay, electric cars are here. They're no longer this weird Nissan Leaf image or Prius that we have in our friends. And we're going to watch how our friends do. And then after that, we're going to consider it leading into 2022, 23, as you mentioned, for people actually buying them and embracing them. So, all right. Well, I think there's only one thing left two. First of all, I want to wish you a happy new year. I know we're going to see each other very soon at the CES. But also tell us how people can follow you. You've been traveling a lot, so following your Twitter account is actually pretty fun. So tell us about that.
Sure. So you could read my articles over at InsideEVs and follow me on Twitter at Tom Moloughney. And I'd like to take the opportunity to wish all of the E4Electric followers Happy New Year and an electric 2020.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Safe travels. I know you're leaving tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to seeing you at CES. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Alex.
All right, guys. So I gotta tell you, me and Tom, we don't really talk really about the videos that we're making. So the conversation happens pretty much right in front of you. And there's actually a couple of video clips that I wasn't ready to get in there. And Tom mentioned, I was like, oh, where is that clip, right? Because it's interesting. I mean, I gotta tell you, I didn't think that Rivian would be the probably most important car coming out next year. And you know what? Now that I've heard it from Tom, I agree. So yeah, it's always good to him. We are gonna there's one more segment that we're gonna film remotely, but after that we are gonna see each other in person at CES. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on, so definitely don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Just like I said, we are really ramping up. And also, if you have already subscribed, hit the bell notification icon. Now I know Tom mentioned this whole struggle between legacy manufacturers and startups. As a matter of fact, one of my new contributors, who's the CEO of Faraday Future, Carsten Breitfeld, he's going to premiere his segment this weekend, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So don't forget to tune in. And of course, thank you to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon, contributing to this show and to this channel. I wouldn't be able to do it without you and my sponsors. So thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. And of course, particularly to one of my newest Patreons, Taylor Lincoln. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to watch me live, go to patreon.com/E4Electric, and the link to that is also in the description of this video. All right, guys, there's only a couple more days left this year, but I'm excited about the next one. I hope you do too. Put it in the comment section. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.